Everybody, welcome to healingals.org. This is our Sunday community meetings where we get together and we talk about ALS. We are not medical professionals. We are not here trying to give you medical advice. I'm Scott Douglas, hosting along with Patricia Tomowski, and we have traveled and visit probably more ALS patients than anybody that I know of anyway. But we try to get out and visit as many folks as we can, and so we can show them that others have not only stopped the progression of ALS, but they have reversed their symptoms. Okay. We want to make sure that this is an open platform for everybody. We try to keep everything positive as we can to help, because when it's so easy to get frustrated, it's so easy to get down in a depression, but in that depression state, we are not in a state of healing. And what we need is to be able to have joy in our life, because when we have joy in our life, our body is more acceptable. It's not in this defense mode of trying to protect itself. And that goes all the way down to the cellular level. And those that have stopped the progression have actually said that it was the mind shift in their way of thinking, their way of healing, getting this out of their mind that it's a 2 to 5 year terminal disease. When you view it as not being a terminal disease, it makes a big difference in your life. It's fantastic. I see that we have Dawn McCrae here. Dawn McCrae is amazing. She is reversing her symptoms left and right. And we have Dawn. When was it that we first visited you? What year was that we first visited you, Dawn?
Oh man, 2015.
Was it 2015 or 14? I thought it was right in there.
14. Yeah.
2014.
It was 2014.
Oh, wow.
2014, yep. I happen to remember that. So actually, before we get Dawn on, why don't I share my screen and make sure that we are like totally set to go. So let me do that. And then we'll finish our introduction, and then we'll let Dawn talk, because Dawn has been using this particular one of the machines that we're going to talk about today for last March. So we're talking almost a year. So today's presentation is on frequency medicine. And I just, it's very interesting how this happened, but I'll explain exactly why we're doing this in this way in a couple minutes. But let me do our first little introduction. Scott has already explained that this is all based on us meeting 40 ALS reversals, and we're just learning more. We learn as much from you as you learn from us, believe me. And that frequency is a big piece of why people are healing, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Donors, I want to just let everybody know our next volunteer meeting is this coming Tuesday at 1 p.m. Volunteer meetings are now the first and third Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern. So just to let you know, new volunteers are welcome. If you'd like to just join us, come see what it's like, and we'll see you on Tuesday. And remember to come to our 47 Steps to Healing course. This is huge, guys. If you're not receiving emails, please check your spam and promotions. All of our events are on healingals.org under events, please. If you are not doing the ALS registry, please fill out this information. We cannot prove that functional medicine works or doesn't work for ALS without this. We know it works. We know that on average, the more people do on functional medicine, the more they slow down the progress of their ALS. That is an absolute fact, but we've never had the metrics to prove it, and we will be able to prove it. If you cannot find something on healingals.org, please go to healingals.com. Okay, so I'm going to get started, and I'm going to actually introduce Heather and myself, actually. So Heather Plude, welcome, Heather.
Hello, I'm unmuted. And so do you want me to read my own?
No, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you.
All
right. I just wanted you to be able to pipe in. Okay, in case I got anything wrong. Okay, so her son got very sick at 10 years old, including daily seizures, vomiting daily, and he was in a wheelchair to go more than a couple of steps. So Heather helped him heal through heavy metal detox, mold detox, and an at-home Lyme protocol that she used. None of it worked actually until she got rid of the mold in her home. So anyone who has done a HERTSMI test, and Heather, if you could put that in the chat, HERTSMI through Mycometrics, it's a $160 test. You want to know what mold levels you have. So please, if you haven't done that test yet, please, every single person with ALS, everyone should have done it. Every single person should have this in your home. You should have it. It's $160. You want to know what your mold levels are in your house. Anyways, Heather's son is now in his 20s and living a normal life. And Heather also healed herself from pain. She was on significant pain medications for over 20 years, brain fog, super allergic reactions, rashes, throat and tongue swelling, jaw pain, depression, lack of energy, much, much more. Through her healing, she has become a mold expert, and she is now becoming a frequency expert. So this is why you want to listen to her. And a little bit about me. Not everyone knows all of this. So just for those of you who don't know the story, my grandmother and my mother died of Alzheimer's disease / dementia. Both were diagnosed with both dementia and Alzheimer's. When I was in my late 40s, I had major stress during a divorce, major stress. I took 2 different online tests. I did go to a doctor, but I didn't have them test me for MCI because I knew I was a total mess. But I went to 2 online tests, and I scored in the category of mild cognitive impairment at the age of 50. And the reality is my symptoms started in my early 40s. I used to be a software engineer, and I couldn't code anymore. I was not able to write software anymore. I couldn't learn the next software language. And I became a manager, which takes way less brain power than writing software. I was able to manage just fine. So my symptoms were severe enough to affect my focus and concentration that I needed as a software engineer, but not enough. I could still run meetings, do emails, and run spreadsheets. So again, they say that starts 20 years in advance. And had I not been a software engineer, I never would have noticed. So when my mother was diagnosed in 2009, I started researching, and I found out that ALS was reversible and Alzheimer's was reversible. So the fear went out of me in 2009. I'd always been so afraid to get dementia. And yet when I that fear completely said, wow, this is reversible, really? I had no idea. And I have done everything I'm telling you guys to do. My brain is now good. It is not perfect. I still have some focus issues. I still have some ADD issues, but I believe that with time, when I up my game, those remaining issues will be gone. But my brain now, compared to 10 years ago, there is no comparison at all, not even close comparison. And one of the reasons I went to see a doctor in 2010 was in 2009, I couldn't focus. I mean, I was able to do things. I could like go to work at a really stupid job that didn't require any brain power. I was able to do that. I was able to carry on a conversation. I was able to, do a lot of things, but I couldn't do any complex thinking. And at the time I was, like some focus, periods of focus, but major periods where I had no focus at all. So anyway, let's talk about frequency medicine. Everything has a frequency. Okay. Frequencies are everywhere. They're in our plants. They're in nature. All humans, we all give off a frequency. Animals give off a frequency. We give a range of frequencies off. Every medication you take has a frequency. Every piece of food you eat has a frequency. The water you drink has a frequency. The supplements that you take have a frequency. Even your table, couch, and chair have a frequency. Everything has a frequency. The biggest source of frequency, healing frequencies or destructive frequencies, are your thoughts and emotions. That is the biggest source of frequencies. So I just want to do this because I didn't write this down, and this is really important. So thoughts and emotions, healing frequencies, I'm going to put thoughts right here, because your thinking is the biggest source of frequencies healing, and your thoughts are also the biggest source of healing frequencies. So I had to add that because it's so important. Okay. There are a ton of healing devices out there. I mean, a ton of them. So I just put a few here, okay? Rife machines, and we're going to talk about frequencies in general, but like a rife machine costs about $500 or more. You can spend thousands of dollars on rife machines. Okay, Lakovsky machines, 1,200 to 25,000. Dr. Tennant's machines are between $8,000 and $11,000. A newbie machine is 15,000 to 18,000. Healy machine, I think it's like 2,000. I don't quote me on that, but it's around there. Biomat is just tons of frequency machines. There's these PEMF machines. There's like so many frequency machines out there. We've talked on this call about the Prife iTeracare 1 machine. That's 300. That's not 375. I apologize. It's 380. And then this AO scan, we're going to be doing more and more and get into depth on a lot more frequency machines. So today we're really going to focus on the AO scan. But before we do, I'm going to talk about just some basic things. So homeopath measures frequencies in a variety of ways. So homeopathic medicine actually does this. So you can take a small amount of anything. It could be a disease, make it smaller thousands of times. It carries a frequency, and instead of becoming a disease frequency, you can turn it into a homeopathic remedy, and it will become a healing frequency. Some homeopaths read frequencies and they create healing frequencies. They will actually place a frequency into the remedy and you heal that way. So that's generally for homeopathic remedies. Dr. Royal Rife has in 1934, and actually I think it was 43 cancer patients. I don't think 16 is correct, but he became basically 100% of his cancer patients, and I believe they were 43. I'm going to correct the slide once I find that out. But he healed cancer in all these patients. 100% of cancer patients. Well, the FDA cannot have us healing cancer patients. That is, and basically he was discredited, and he won this big award, and he is now I'm sorry, Scott, I can't hear. Thanks. Okay. Anyway, he was basically, he died, they just basically discredited him in any way he could, because he actually proved that this technology worked, and we certainly couldn't have that happening. Okay. Scalar wave technology was created by Nikola Tesla. It's very, very safe. And it's a wavelength that doesn't have electrical or magnetic components. It's a scalar technology, and actually the AO scan uses it. Dr. Tennant's machine uses it. The iTeracare Prife one uses it. A lot of the really advanced, the more advanced frequency use machines are using scalar technology, and they can carry a frequency that's programmed into them, so it can be sent anywhere in the universe instantaneously, and that it's used through at the speed of light. So when you're on the phone, you can actually talk to someone and get scalar wave technology. And we know that these we don't understand everything, but there's another guy who has peer-reviewed journals, and they've proven you've had a mouse. If you have a mice and you even know about these mice that are in the same litter, you move the mice into a lab in Chicago, and you could be in a lab in New York. And what you do to the mice in New York will affect the mice in Chicago. It's just absolutely incredible, even though they're not on a phone, that they're just going through. Dr. Greg Braden has measured this. There's a lot more information, and we'll cover a little more each week on exactly what frequency medicine does. So this is just a super brief overview. What frequencies do, and the AO scan works this as well, and the homeopaths do the same thing. They will measure a frequency with a device, and they will give you an opposite device, and tuning forks work the same way, and those devices can then become healing frequencies. They'll give you if it's a disease frequency, you can give an equal and opposite healing frequency to negate that disease. And if it's a healing frequency, you can give another healing frequency to actually augment that disease. So this is a very lay, don't blame me if I don't have every single wording right, but that's the general lay version of that. I'm sure experts could explain it better. Okay, Albert Einstein says the future of medicine, this was in the 50s, will be the medicine of frequency, because he knew way back when that everything is energy. You match the frequency of the reality you want, you cannot help but get that reality. Hard to believe. There can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. This is huge. Okay, guys, this is so important. And that's why our thoughts make such a difference. You focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. And we know, and Dr. Cowden talks about this also in his presentation in the 2022 conference recordings. You go to healingalsconference.org to be able to purchase those recordings if you don't already have them. So it's really, they've done so much, there's so much science behind this, behind your thoughts. Okay, so every cell and organ in the body has its own distinctive frequencies. When these frequencies are disrupted by energy, diet, stress, or emotions, the results of the disruption is often so profound we carry scars for life. Well, guess what? We can heal those scars. And often what happens is these emotional scars, these energy blockages, we can clear them. And when we clear the energy blockage, often the disease will go away. If you do not address these energy blockages and these frequencies that has been disrupted inside your body, you will get fatigue, depression, illness, disease, and even death. Okay. And so over the past 20 years, this is unbelievable what's happening in frequency medicine. We are cataloging these, identifying these, and isolating each of these frequencies. What if there's a way you could identify the optimal frequencies of cells, tissues, and organs in the body, measure them, monitor them, and restore them to a state of balance? So this is the purpose of all of these frequency machines. Not all of them, because some of them, they just send, the newbie device sends frequency meditation directly to your muscles and will actually heal your muscles. The issue is, and it can make a difference, it will heal your abdominal muscles, it will stimulate your abdominal muscles, and then your breathing improves, of course. But it's still more of a Band-Aid rather than getting to the cause. We're interested in this particular presentation today of getting to the cause. But I don't want to say that Band-Aids aren't good, because Band-Aids can be very good. So please don't think this is that I'm saying do one over the other. So the purpose of frequency medicine is to find the root cause, start connecting the dots, and dig deeper, find the root cause, get healing frequencies. Obviously, you still need to heal your emotional blockages, but you want to send healing frequencies for those emotional blockages, healing frequencies for those diseases that you have, healing frequencies to the liver, to your organs, to everything. And that's really the purpose of frequency medicine. So I'm going to now, just to let you know, I said this before, we will be discussing other frequency devices on other Sundays, but the remainder of this particular presentation is about one device that's getting good results. So I'm going to actually turn this over to Heather, and she is going to talk about this particular device, which is the AO scan. And like I said, we're going to be talking about other devices as well. We want to be like an equal opportunity healing ALS, but anything that we feel has promise, we want to be able to show presentations in more detail. So this is the rest of this presentation is basically about the AO scan device, because this is just one of many devices. So go ahead, Heather, I'm going to let you take care of this. If you don't mind me moving your slides, because I kind of pasted them in. And Don, why don't you give us a little bit of a testimonial about, what's happened in the past year for you?
Well, I've been using frequency devices the whole time. I spent over $10,000 on devices, but this told me about the AOCN 1 year ago and introduced me to Heather, and Heather has taught me so much especially about when she began her weekly calls.
Right.
No.
But by the way, I wanted to introduce Dawn. I didn't tell everybody. Dawn, for those of you who don't know, was diagnosed with ALS in 2002. And she partially reversed her symptoms. She hasn't completely reversed them yet. And I'm saying absolutely yet. Before we met her in 2014. So on the new website, she's considered a partial reversal and a long-term survivor, both. And I just wanted to let you know there's a reason why Dawn is still around 22 years into ALS, going on 23. So this is why, and people say, well, she's not totally healed yet. Well, guys, I want everyone to think about who would like to be in Dawn's shoes right now, 23 years after your diagnosis with bulbar ALS. She's still able to walk and get around. She's still able to transfer. She's still able to go to the restroom by herself and eat by herself. So this is a huge deal, guys. And we're just waiting for her to find the other causes of ALS. And then we're going to see her totally back to a beautiful, vibrant, 100% health. But I know that 22 years into ALS, I would be very, very happy to be in Dawn's shoes right now. So, and she's continuing to gain. So just to listen, why you want to listen to Dawn, please. Dawn, continue your story.
But I'm so happy that you told me about the AOCN, because I've been using it 1 year, but really, thanks to Heather, I've been really targeting the toxins and using the frequency to balance the imbalances in my body. I love the AOCN because it tries to optimize the imbalances and then gives you advice of how to further balance them. So I have noticed if you played a video of me 1 year ago, you'd be able to see how much my speech has improved. I'm also stronger, and helping me rebalance my back and neck. My feet move faster. I can lift my legs higher. It's made a huge difference. But even more since the conference when Heather started her weekly call, she taught me how to use things that I wasn't using. So it has made a huge difference in my recovery. But I do also want to touch on what Scott said. Mindset and thoughts are everything. Everything. I've never identified as someone with a terminal illness. I always knew I would find a way, and I meditate, and I learn every day. I'm open, so everything matters.
Thank you, Dawn. Really appreciate you sharing, because the reality is it's absolutely true. There's the thoughts, the one thing every single ALS reversal we met had in common was the thoughts, and they changed their thoughts. A lot of people were negative people that turned into positive people. because they knew how important it was to healing. So please do not underestimate that. And one of the things about the scan that I found impressive is that it actually helps your thoughts. So what would you like to do, Heather? Do you want to run the slides or do you want me to run the slides? And Heather, you're muted.
I'll run the slides.
Okay, great.
All right, so the AO scan, I've been using it a little bit longer than Dawn. It took me a few months to tell Tish about it and to tell her how excited I was. And she introduced me to Dawn. And I can tell you, when I first met Dawn, I had a hard time understanding her. And we see improvement every week with Dawn as we do weekly meetings now. And the weekly meetings are meant to just help people to use the AO scan a little bit better. There is a lot involved in it, but it is pretty simple to do the basic scans. So I'm going to show you that today.
And
So
the other thing I want to say is you don't have to understand everything that Heather says in order to use it. Just like we don't have to understand how electricity works in order to use it. So it's a very simple to use. It's super simple. Like I think a second grader can use it. If you want to do higher things about it, obviously you need to understand the level of electricity better. But right now, as far as basically using it daily, it's simple, super simple.
yeah. Okay, so a little background on the AO scan. That guy up in the corner, that's Lawrence Swenson. 20 years ago, he had a son that was born with cerebral palsy. He was actually an adopted son, and they wanted to find a better life for him. He had some behavioral problems, he had some learning problems, he wasn't able to stay in school, and he was looking for ways to help him. So he started traveling, looking for things that could help him, and he found frequency. He talked to scientists in Russia, Germany, I think there was some in Spain and Ukraine also. And they had already cataloged 120,000 frequencies in the body that represent optimal health. And he got the rights to those 120,000 frequencies and has added more. But that's where the research for the AO scan began. In the beginning, the AO scan was primarily used to help astronauts in space, but in the last 20 years, it was released to the public. When it first got released to the public 20 years ago, it was a large machine, much like what you see here with the theta chamber and the large computer. It was $38,000. I actually know someone who had it a little over 10 years ago, and she did a scan on me. And the amount of equipment that was needed for this scan filled up a room. And it was very elaborate. And it's not something that you could get for yourself. And she was charging a good amount of money for the scans because she has to have a practice. So it was something that, you know, was a one-time thing for me to test it out, but then it went into my back of my mind because it wasn't something that was available at the time. Whoops. Oh, how do I go back? Because I think I double clicked. All right. So the AO scan now has become mobile. It does everything that the larger one did. At first, when they went mobile, they were only going to put the inner voice onto the mobile scan, but he's been able to put everything onto the cloud, and the mobile device does everything that the original $38,000 machine did. So it identifies the specific frequencies in the human body using the database of those 120,000 plus different frequencies. And those are the same in every person because they're the optimal health. It is a biofeedback device. It's an educational tool to check your body at any time during the day. Some of the scans do limit you to no more than once in an hour, but many of the scans you could do as many times as you want. It does restore balance in the body, the mind, and the spirit, and it's an affordable handheld device that can scan, optimize, and harmonize your body multiple times a day. I do use it more when I'm not feeling good. I had a weekend where I wasn't feeling good, and I used it 4 or 5 times during the day, listened to my frequencies, and got my supplement suggestions. Normally, I scan in the morning and I scan at night. I listen to my frequencies morning and night, and I do one scan in the middle of the day just to tell me what supplements I need. So the AO scan results can refer to frequencies that are found in cellular memory. So in the past, residual toxins, not necessarily something that you're being exposed to right now, but a past exposure, residual damage from a prior exposure, residual inflammation, an actual occurrence that's happening right now. Sometimes it's the closest frequency to something that's not in the database. So although there's a whole list of parasites, there may be some that aren't in the database. And if you had a parasite that was not in the database, it would choose the parasite that was closest to that one. And also off-selling, picking up the components from other people. I also want to stress that nothing in the AO scan is medical advice. This shouldn't be used as diagnosis or medical treatment. The AO scan is not a medical device. It's not used to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. The inner voice scan is it's the most simple scan, but it's also one of the most powerful. So it isolates and analyzes over 8,000 frequencies over a 12-note octave in your vocal tone, pitch, and pattern. Can also be used on heartbeat, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be saying anything for it to get part of your voice. This is the only scan that does use the voice, and we can still do the other scans without a voice. So I don't want the fact that there's a voice component to this to scare anyone off that does not have a voice. It identifies emotional imbalances and then creates harmonizing music to balance your emotional state using musical notes, radionics, and other frequencies. There's binaural beats, so it's putting one frequency in one ear and then another one in the other to balance you out. So it uses the same software as a lie detector to be able to obtain accurate results. And everyone's scans and the music that you get from those scans are 100% customized to you individually. All right, so this is an example of an inner voice report. So it does show emotions, and it shows the extremes of both sides. So you would think everybody wants to be confident and not fearful, but what we want is to be in the middle somewhere. We don't want to be overconfident. We don't want to be over fearful. So what this tries to do is balance you out no matter where you are on that scale. So if it shows fear versus confident, you could be to the extreme on either side. The beginning of the report is mostly, this is generic, the positive emotions that can be associated with this and the negative emotions, just so you can see that. But this part here where it shows emotions, vitals, potential causes, imbalances, and suggestions, this is custom to you. So if this were your scan, this would be custom to you. This is actually my scan, so you're seeing a little bit into my life. But you can see here under the imbalances and suggestions, it's saying that I'm having something going on in my liver, and these are things that I can do to help that. Consider doing a liver flush, a liver detox program, consider chiropractic adjustments. Also things with the brain exercise regularly, stay mentally active. And the kidneys, stay fit, use digestive enzymes, and use chiropractic adjustments. Those are some of my favorite parts of the inner voice report, is those suggestions, because it actually gives you lifestyle changes that you can do. And if you see a pattern through, there are 4 reports in the inner voice. If you see a pattern, you can say, oh, well, this one came up in all 4 reports. That's something I can do today, whether it be add digestive enzymes or hydrate, or if it says exercise regularly and you can't exercise, a vibration plate or a chi machine, or whatever you can do. Also, since I've started using the AO scan, I pay a lot of attention to the emotions that are on that are affecting me, and I use the emotion code to release those emotions, or other modalities that can release emotions. So emotions are over 50% of why we are not in our optimum health. So I also wanted to include here the visible spectrum of wavelengths. So it does For each emotion, it does come up with a color also. You can either wear colored glasses or wear something that is that color, or even some red light therapy if red were the color. However you can bring that color into your day can really help you with healing. So this must have been a different order, so we're going to just skip over that one because we already did it. The inner voice was someone that uses the AO scan decided to take a group of people. It wound up being 10 people who finished the 21-day challenge. And they did a survey before and after, and the overall improvement after those 21 days was 54.2%. Some of the most remarkable categories was overall improvement in depression by 70%, decrease in physical pain by 52%, decreased anxiety, and better sleep. Better sleep
So it
is one
does
of your,
improve inflammation, and I believe that's why you having a decrease in physical pain. And
right.
so many people with ALS, are depressed. I mean, there's no question. So I was very impressed with those first two categories, especially, and actually the last category as well.
Yeah.
All four categories are very impressive to me as far as ALS goes. That's important. And Heather, how they listen to it once a day, twice a day, or 3 times a day for 5 minutes?
The recommended for this challenge was 2 times a day.
Twice
So
a
if
day.
they,
And for how long?
10 days, 21 days. This was,
No, but how
10
many
people,
minutes a day?
12 minutes.
12 minutes.
So
Okay, so
yeah,
the other thing too, I wanted to let you know, at the 12 minutes, you can be doing other things. It can just be playing in the background. You can be doing whatever you want to do. This morning I was doing it, and I was actually just cleaning my kitchen while I was doing it. So just so you know, you don't have to just, it's better if you listen to the headphones, but it's not necessary. You still get the benefit without the headphones. It is better with the headphones, but not absolutely necessary.
yeah. And I do get that comment of better sleep from a lot of people. I know when Tanya started using it, she was having trouble sleeping at night. And she said that first night, she couldn't believe how well she slept. So, all right. So the vital scan is another scan, completely separate from the inner voice, but they're all connected because they're measuring our bodies. So on the left, you can see where what the vital scan actually scans. So it goes over food sensitivities, scans the blood, the chakras, the chiropractic meridians, the gastrointestinal functions, nutritional analysis, physical functionality, and toxicities. I pulled one category out of the physical functionality. This happens to be the liver and gallbladder function. So I wanted to show you here, what's on the right is the first scan. And then during one scan, the AO scan does a scan, sends optimizing frequencies, and then scans again. So you'll see on the right where the top one, ALP, was a 1, it improved. What we want everything to do is go closer to 5. So 5 is in the middle. 1s go closer to 5 by getting that got to a 3, and so did the AST. 9s, you see that detox phase 2, it went from a 9 to a 7. But the only one here that stayed out red, and that's really something that did not balance out at all, is that protein metabolism stayed 9, red. And then if we wanted to know more about this and I was in my scanner, I could just click on that protein metabolism and it would bring up the blurb on the left that tells what that actually is. So I just wanted to show how that works when we're looking at the scans. And Tish, was that pretty good?
Yeah,
that explanation of how it
I'm
works?
just going to give you the 30-second version for the people that are.
Yeah.
The
Go ahead,
the two on the right are before,
yeah.
and the two on the right are after. So what the machine does, just to review, is it reads where your body is now. That's the two on the right, and then it sends you healing frequencies to improve those. And that's what on the left. And you want to look at it over time, but look at you have fewer red things on the left than on the right. So after one day, just one day of using this, you'll notice that in one X number of minutes you're using this, it just sent it to, I think it's 6 minutes it takes to do the scan. It sent you healing frequencies, so your body is in better shape than it was 6 minutes ago. And you want to look at them over time. Some things get better, some things get worse. If you notice a pattern over time, it might be, hey, my liver is still a mess and I've been using this for a month now, and I need to look at other things to work on my liver. But it will in general improve things over time. Did I explain that correctly?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I think you saw this slide when Tish was doing. I just wanted to go over it again. This was an explanation that was given by a veterinarian. The one on the left where we see a mirror image of the frequency. So we have one frequency that's in the body, and then they send a mirror image of that frequency to balance it out. And then the example of the tuning forks is when you have one tuning fork that's resonating at one frequency, and you have another one that you have not hit, it will start to have that same tone as the tuning fork that's going. And that is how the balancing of frequencies works and resonating with one frequency. So we're sending healing frequencies, the healthy, optimal frequencies, to balance out the frequencies that are not so optimal that are in our body. And again, every cell and organ in the body has its own distinctive vibrational frequency or oscillation. And when they're disrupted by injury, diet, stress, or emotion, it results in a disruption of biological function. So the next scan, again, we're going to concentrate on the liver because that's something that came up in my scans as something that was an issue. It is the comprehensive. And again, it's the same way. The scan that's on the right is the first scan, and then optimizing frequencies are sent. So we have different numbers on the left. So I started out on the liver detail at 40% for my deal. And then after the frequencies were sent, that got to 30%. But you can see down here at the bottom, liver sections was 62% for my deal, which is, absolutely atrocious. And I need to do something about this. Then with the frequencies alone, without doing any liver, supplements or anything yet, it got to 34. So that's a huge improvement with frequency. But I also wanted to show you if something is out of balance, like then you see this disk spaces was 9.9. So I clicked on that, and this in the comprehensive, instead of bringing up a blurb like the vitals does, what it does is it brings up a picture and it points to where in the liver. So I did a little bit of Googling, and that's where to show you what the actual dish spaces is. This is my actual, I added this. It's the narrow space separating the livers. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but the membrane of the this membrane from the plasma membrane. So it's a membrane in the liver that is out of balance. And it's just pointing to that. It's every part of this liver, but just to show you, when this chart here, it's showing organs right here, but you can take, if I were live, I could take this and make it show a part of the body, the bones. So you can change that view. It's a 3D view also, so we could rotate.
Okay, so I just want to pipe in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is how electricity works. You don't really have to understand it in order to use it. So Heather's getting a little bit into the weeds, but you don't need to understand this. But the point is, it's there, and a lot of naturopaths and functional doctors, chiropractors are using this device because they know what the deep dive means. And so it's very useful to them. But remember, this is a $38,000 machine that they've put into a piece of software that can fit on a cell phone. So it has 30 years behind it, or 20 or 30 years, whatever, a lot of years behind it. So just to let you know that that you don't need to understand all this. That's all.
Yeah, you don't need to understand all the details. What I like to look at in the comprehensive is make sure things are getting better. Because if they're not, your energy is not moving in the right direction. And we actually have frequencies that can help that. I have found 100% of the time when we send the chakra frequencies that it straightens people's scans out if they are not moving in the right direction. So if you see that the number on the right is lower than the number on the left, then your energy is moving in the wrong direction. So, and if you see that something is above 50% from ideal, that's something that you should take note of and do something about. Even if it's more than 50% from ideal before the frequencies, like I'm going to do something about my liver. I'm not going to just, and I know why this is. I haven't been taking care of myself the way I should. We've been in the process of moving. We've got a lot going on. So I've got to take care of my health a little bit better.
Yeah. And Heather, is it true that the greens and blues are best, right? We want everything in the green-blue range?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So green is best, blue is second best.
Right.
So you want to be 4s, 5s, 6s versus 1s and 9s. So just to understand, green and blue is good.
Red and orange are the ones that they're most out of balance.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
All right, so there is one more scan that that kind of pulls everything together. The body system scan was added last year. It pulls everything from the vitals and the comprehensive and shows it in systems. So these are the systems that are scanned that you can see on the left: circulatory, connective, digestive, endocrine, lymphatic, musculoskeletal, nervous, respiratory, sensory, the skin, urinary, chromosomes, and human cells and mitochondria. So I am going to look at the digestive system because the liver actually is in 3 of the different systems. It's in digestive, endocrine, and lymphatic when you look at the body system scan, but mostly digestive. So I'm going to look at the digestive system in the next scan. So you see, much like the inner voice, it gives you possible causes, possible emotions that would be causing something in the digestive system. It tells you whether things are acute or chronic. And with training, you can open that up more, but right here, this is enough. And even more information than some people need. But again, my favorite part of the body system scan is the ways to improve. So you have all those things that could be causing something, but you have just a few things that you could do to improve things in your digestive system. So for me, it would be manage stress, increase trace minerals, use HCl, hydrochloric acid, pre-meal digestive enzymes, and take adequate pre and probiotics. Again, in the body system scan, what I look for is trends and pick 1 or 2 things. You can't do 5 things on 13 different systems. You'd be trying to do 60 things in a day. But if you can pick 1 or 2, it's a great way to improve things over time. So Dr. Pollack works with PEMF machines a lot. He's done some studies on the AO scan, and this is something that he said about the AO scan, that the AO scan is a brilliant concept that provides a real-time biological fingerprint of the body, anatomically, physiologically, and metabolically, using established resonance physics. Information collected can be used for lifestyle or behavioral modification, can also surround the body with dynamic resonance patterns that support optimal well-being. And that's what I'm going to show you next. So by surrounding the body with frequencies, what the AO scan calls that is SEFI, and that's subtle energy frequency imprinter. This includes many frequencies. It has bright frequencies, it has Bach flower frequencies, frequencies for immune system, sleep well, anxiety, pain-free. It targets specific things if you're interested in all of the list of things, I can send you a Excel spreadsheet with them all listed out. But this is one of the most powerful things. I like to go through the scans and then come up with a custom playlist of frequencies that will help that person based on what comes up in their scans. And Dawn was talking about how when she first started using the Cephi, she was trying to do the detox. There's detox frequencies. And when she would do a detox frequency, it would wipe her out. But when I taught her to do the detox frequencies in a custom playlist, put one detox in there with a whole bunch of support, it was a way that she could start using those detox frequencies. And that's when she really started seeing even more improvement than she was in the very beginning. And I think Dawn can attest to that. So yeah, it also has specific things for Lyme, metals, viruses.
Yeah, and again, that's like a 6th grade thing. So you could 2nd grade to use the machine, 6th grade to be able to imprint them, but still very simple. I don't know, you might disagree, maybe it's lower than that, but it's probably around that, just to be able to understand how you can imprint things. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it is pretty easy to do. Maybe looking at the scans and figuring out which one that takes a little bit more. But there's some of them in here, like this on the left is an example of a custom playlist that was made for this woman. This is just a testimony. A lady walked in with a cane today. She ran these specific frequencies based on her scans, and she was surprised she didn't need her cane to stand up from sitting. But these are the frequencies that she ran on her. I've run similar scans like this sitting next to someone and then at a distance of 2,000 miles, and they get the same results, whether you're sitting right next to them or whether you're running them at a distance. So the Cephi frequencies are amazing. You can also imprint these frequencies onto jewelry. I imprint my rings once a week. I know people that take all of their jewelry off and just set it on top of the scanner and scan everything in. I don't wear a lot of jewelry, so my rings are it. They have bracelets that hold the frequencies for a bit longer, a couple of weeks. You can also imprint sugar pills, water. Every day I imprint water and drink my water. Another testimonial about the scan helping last night. It relaxed me. In the morning, I woke up with anxiety and I knew I had to listen to the tones. Tones settled me down and I released a lot through tears. So much emotional and physical wounds that are coming up for healing. Can't thank you enough. And support you're giving me is awesome.
Fantastic. And I wanted to also mention another testimonial. Tanya mentioned she's been using the AO scan for a while. And then she noticed both she and her husband. So understand that's like one scanner can do the whole family and friends if you want. There's a limited number of people can use it, but the whole family uses it. So she and her husband both have been using it, and they noticed slowly but surely things just started getting better and better in their scans. So just less and less red. So you have a whole pile of reds at the beginning, both for her and her husband. Everything goes into balance. The other thing, when she added the wand, the Pryphyterica wand, that $380 wand, I think it's worth $380 now. She all of a sudden she noticed it significantly getting better faster. So it was very interesting that the AO scan could measure another device that she was using completely separately. And she went, wow, that like, so all of a sudden it went from bringing things slowly into alignment to bringing things way faster into alignment and increase in function everywhere. So that I thought was very interesting. So I just wanted to add that little 2 cents. We'll get Tanya to come on at some point, but not today. She's not available today, but just to let you know. Okay, anything else? Sorry, you can continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I figured we were doing testimonials. I figured I'd add that.
No, that's great. All right, so this is just another testimonial. You got to believe that anything is possible. The AO scan is an absolute game changer, and I have much more energy, and my well-being has greatly improved. Been tracking my progress. It's astounding how my body is naturally balancing out. All the burdens are disappearing. I've been resolving trauma and healing my nervous system. Goes on and on. Sure, you can read more of that, but underneath the testimony on just the inner voice tones, making someone feel super happy. It came out of nowhere. I was laughing. I hardly ever laugh anymore or feel joy, but I did tonight. So I hear things like this all the time. I love to see, and I feel the same way. I've felt so much better in the last little bit over a year. Pretty great. So this is, I did want to include some of the challenges. I did have one person who said that it was very difficult to use to listen to the tones. So I put that question out. There is a official AO Scan Facebook group. And this was one of the comments I had, that some people, just to summarize it, some people do have a difficulty with the music and it's not enjoyable for them, but it may be that they're trying to get over a difficult emotion. And if you can get through it, like most modalities of healing are not always pleasant. So if there is some kind of difficulty, don't think it's just that it's not going to work for you. Maybe listening and keep on running those scans and keep on listening to the music and release some of those emotions. Maybe look at the reports and use some other modalities to release emotions, but just listening to the music every day will release those emotions without you having to do that extra work.
Right. And then you could always start, listen every other day. And then, you know what I mean? And let it, if you're releasing them too fast, then just listen a little bit less amount of time, and maybe every other day instead of every day, until you've released enough to, it's the same thing with Dawn and the detox. When she was having detox symptoms, well, that's a sign that, hey, she needed to add a bunch of supporting frequencies. So maybe add a bunch of supporting frequencies, talk to Heather about the playlist, or me about how to do a playlist, and figure out how to add some supporting frequencies in between doing the listening. So just to understand that is an issue. You wanted to slowly but surely heal. The other thing I wanted to say, and maybe I'll just wait and say it, but this is not a device that is a magic pill. We spoke to the president last August. Heather and I were both there, and I spoke to the president. He said he had 2 ALS patients, and what happened with both ALS patients is they didn't get any worse. They've been using the AO scan for about 2 years, and they haven't, since they started using it, they haven't gotten any worse. Now I've got to, they're not necessarily doing diet and supplements and all these other things. So to me, if the AO scan keeps you from getting worse, that's a miracle. My thought is you add all these other things, then guess what? You're going to actually start getting better, because those 2 ALS patients don't know everything that we do. So my goal with all of you guys is, like, if this can help you from getting worse, and then you do all these other things in addition, this combined with the other things will be able to slowly but surely get you better. And Dawn is doing a lot of other things as well as the AO scan, which is why she's slowly but surely getting better. I believe once she does the 47 steps to healing, that she's going to get better and better and better. That's what I feel like. So over the next year, but this is just another piece. Okay.
All right. So I want to just put Tish and I's information up here. If you have any questions or you want to try a remote scan, you can text Tish. That's the best way to get a hold of her, or you can email me. And then,
yeah, I do way better with text. Heather does better with email, but we can each run a remote scan. It takes a few minutes. It's really easy. And then we email you the tones and the results.
Yeah. And I just wanted to go over the subscription. If you wanted to get your own, is $149 a month. You can do that on your own phone. It does lose some accuracy. They say 10 to 15% accuracy is lost when you use it on like an iPhone or your own phone that has other apps on it. So there is a device that you can buy from the company. It's calibrated to use with the AO scan. It's the lowest EMF phone out there. I've done a lot of research, and it's a super good phone, $495 for that phone, but it still does need Wi-Fi to work with the phone. Some people would rather have not have to use Wi-Fi. So the tablet can also be used, and that's $995. But again, you can start for as low as $149 a month if you wanted to start with your own device that you have, a tablet or a phone.
Right. And we're looking at, we were looking at affordable things like, I would love to have tenants machines, but there's no way in a million years at this point in our finances that we could buy that machine. So, we've been looking at things that are affordable, and this is one of the things, this and that iTerracare Price wand that is affordable and can be used at home. And the other issue, just to let you know, is it is done on a what do you call that? Network marketing. So if you find 3 people that also are interested in subscribing, then guess what? Then your subscription is paid for. And that was the other thing. It makes it even more affordable. So if you want to share it with a few people, you find you're getting good results, you want to share it with 3 people, and they can also share it with 3 people and get their subscriptions for free. So there is that option of being able to do it. You don't have to do it formally, other than enough just to get your subscription for free. But that's just another option. But as I said, Heather and I are very willing to help you. It's a way we can, if the same thing with me, it's I can get my subscription for free and then potentially have some income that helps defray some of our Healing ALS costs. And Heather,
that's why we have Tish's link down the bottom. So and that's when you sign up with Tish, it helps me also, but it helps Healing ALS, and that's the most important thing there. I just want to let you know, this guy, I don't know if everybody can see him, but we got him from the shelter. He was a little abused Chihuahua, and he was very hyper and very barky, but we use the AO scan on him too. So the AO scan can be used on pets, and we use it. I have a calming frequency going to him right now, and he's super good. He also had something going on with his throat, and it showed up out of balance on his thymus. And that has gotten a lot better since we've gotten him too. So it's really just a great thing to be able to help with anybody that you love, pet or person.
well, the other issue too that I'm hoping might work for PALS, because most PALS are spending a lot of money on supplements, often $700 or $800 a month on supplements. And when you scan your supplements, my guess is you will hopefully save that $149 a month. You will spend at least $149 a month less on supplements, because you can scan your supplements in and it will tell you each day which supplements your body wants and which doesn't. So most people are just taking, okay, I need antioxidants, I need magnesium, I need this, I need this. It will actually scan your body, and you scan in your supplements, it will tell you which supplements to take that day. So that's a way you can potentially save this subscription amount. And this is not inexpensive. I understand $149 a month is a lot of money. But the thought that I'm looking at is, with Scott and I both use it, it's only $7,500 a month, $75 a month each. And now our grandson is living with us. So that's going to be, if I use it on him, then I'm down to, for each member of the family, I'm down to $50 a month each.
And I used to do a Zytoscan whenever we had something wrong with us. And when we first started using the Zytoscan 12 years ago, the practitioner that we used charged us $100 a month. Went up to 125, then 100. Last time I wanted one, it was 250.
And back up to the previous slide again, so people have time to write down phone numbers from the previous slide as well. So guys, we don't care if you do this at all. Just go, okay. We don't care whether you use this or not. We're presenting this. We will be presenting other frequency devices as well. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are less expensive. I mean, this is just one device out of many. I do want to do a official presentation as well. For the iTerracare wand, and partly because it's so affordable. Please look into other things. Also, the Rife machine. We had a Rife machine for about a year. that a friend of ours lent us. And I was never quite sure, am I giving myself frequencies that are helpful or hurtful? I had this big thick book and I was measuring the frequencies and saying, okay, I'm going to do this today, this today, this today. But I was never quite sure where this was so brainless. I didn't need to think about it. I can just scan myself, send myself healing frequencies and watch those numbers improve. And there are, I mean, how much have they spent on research on this machine? Heather, I think they told us that the thing, but I don't remember how much it was.
Yeah, I don't remember that number.
It's a lot of money. They've spent, you know, I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands, but it is in the hundreds of thousands and possibly in the millions of the amounts that they've actually spent on doing this. My guess is it's over 1 million for sure by now, because it's over 20 years. So just to let you know, there's a lot of research that has gone into it. And the president said, look, it's not perfect. They feel very strongly that it's at least 85% accurate, which is way better than a very than a person who does a really good life practitioner will tell you they're not 85% accurate. So I was just that was kind of my comparison. So if you could stop your share, Heather, that would be great.
Yeah.
And we'll do Q&A. Thank you so much for presenting this. And again, there are a lot of machines out there. We were looking for things that could be used at home that are affordable. And there are other things that can be used at home. There are lots of other machines out there, and we will be presenting them. We may just do a frequency machine a month because there are so many out there. So we will be doing probably, this is March, so maybe in April, we'll do another frequency machine that people have found helpful. So just, you know, that's the idea. Slowly but surely, we want to present a whole bunch of machines that are very, very helpful for ALS. And Heather, you're co-host, so you can take some of the questions as well. So maybe I'll let you alternate, Glenn, between you and Glenn on the questions.
I'm going to start with Connie because she asked supplements suggested. Can that be ours, not the ones they sell? And absolutely, you scan in your own supplements. So whatever you have, you can scan in. And then the ones that are that come loaded in the phone are frequencies. So they can actually be scanned into water or broadcast out into the air. So the supplements that are in the scanner, but anything that physical that you have, you can scan it into the scanner.
Yeah, and you can compare, like if you have 2 different vitamin C's, maybe you have a liposomal vitamin C and another vitamin C, and maybe you have 3 of them, who knows? You can scan all of those in and it will make suggestions for which one is recommended for your body. So if you have several different versions of brands of the same supplement, you can absolutely,
or even different dosages of the same supplement. I put in 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 2,000, 3,000 to see what would come up. And same with vitamin D. I have one that's a 10,000 IU and one that's a 5,000 IU. So just to know what my body's asking for. The other day, I had been working a lot and not getting outside, and vitamin D came up twice. So sometimes it's just saying, get the heck outside.
that's great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Next question. What does it mean when a result box is empty?
So that, Marion, I'm going to work with you on getting your supplements entered, because if the top supplements don't have anything, it just means that you haven't added them. So there is a way to go in and just add them to your profile. So we can work on that even tonight if you want to.
Another question from Connie is that I see that after applying frequency, it can become from a 2 orange to a red 1. That is not good. So why could this happen? So our energy is like waves in the ocean. So when the tide comes out, it's still going in a little bit. When the tide is coming in, it's still going out a little bit. So when something balances to the good, some other things may move in the other direction. What we want to see is the trend of everything moving forward. That's why I like that comprehensive so much, where we can see the percentage away from ideal it was, and then where the percentage of the whole category goes. It's a little bit more difficult to see in the vitals, but if you see more
red's on the right and less on the left, then we're moving in the right direction for the most part.
Heather, this is Scott. I have a quick one. A lot of pals that we've come across ended up having high levels of candida. Now, with the AO scan, this is a good question about that. And candida, have you seen results personally, especially when it comes to the the hair, skin, and nails?
Yeah. So the candida, it scans for 8 different kinds of candida. So there's Candida albicans, which is the one that most people are familiar with, and then there's another 7 candidas in there. When I first started doing the AO scan, I was coming up positive for Lyme, Bartonella, Babesia, and a lot of other things. Those things started dwindling down, and the one that would consistently stay was Candida. So what I did was I added some supplements in that help with Candida. Pau de Arco is the one that it suggested for me. There was another one that I scanned in that never came up. So I just started taking Pau de Arco, and then that Candida started coming off of my scans. So that's a great question, Scott.
Hey, Glenn.
Margot is asking, do we need to do these 3 different scans separately each day, the inner voice, easy scan, and comprehensive scan?
So Margot, when you do the easy scan, it does the inner voice, the vitals, and the comprehensive. So the easy scan, I didn't go over today. It combines actually 4 scans because it's doing the quick scan too with supplements, but that's with one push of a button. If you want to look at the scans, you can go into the inner voice. That'll give you the full report, but you've done it in the easy scan. So every time you do an easy scan, it populates your inner voice, vitals, and comprehensive. Just not
We're going to do, Heather does a meeting every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Most Wednesdays, not every Wednesday, but most Wednesdays. So anybody who has specific questions wants to join that 8 p.m. Q&A, 8 p.m. Eastern Q&A session. Obviously, if you're in Europe, that is not practical, in which case just we'll make a Zoom appointment either with myself or Heather so that we can help you read the scans, read your own scan, and we'll organize a Zoom meeting for you so that, and it's too much, but feel free to come at 8 if you want to learn how to read your own scans, learn how to do scan in your own supplements, things like that. So that's what that meeting is about.
I will do Zooms with anyone that wants a personal Zoom just to help get you going, or if you have questions, I do several a week. So if you need extra help, I'm here for that too.
Yeah, and we were talking maybe on Wednesdays of actually going over 1 scan a week as well. So just somebody's scan so we can all get better at interpreting the scans.
Curious what shows is more altered in ALS patients. I can tell you that a lot of detox and digestion and amino acids come up. It's different with like there are some cranial nerves that I look at depending on, I mean, we can look at the cranial nerves and the vitals and the comprehensive, but that MTHFR, which is a detox pathway, and then the different components of the MTHFR that are shown in the liver and the kidney. It's different in everyone, but toxicities, that's a good one. Everybody has different toxicities, but some people are more virus heavy. Some people are more parasite heavy. Some people are more mold heavy. So it is different.
Great.
Angela doesn't have necessarily a question, but she's commenting that she has seen several presentations and had a scan once. I'm overwhelmed just watching this. The information given is insane and didn't help me at all, just stressed me out. I understand the value and I would like to get my mind to the point that I can understand. I don't know if there's any advice.
Dawn, can you talk on, because I know you don't look at the information in the reports, you just listen to the, can you talk on that?
Yeah, I glanced at it, but really I put the detox frequency in my supplements, and then I review my supplement suggestion, and it tells me if I need a virus, detox, bacteria, Epstein-Barr, parasite, and I do that. I do not really, I don't get all attached to everything that comes up. And since I've been doing that detox playlist based on the supplement suggestion, that's when I noticed the most improvement. I did not really pay attention to anything else, and I have to admit, I'm not really. Sometimes the inner voice would. I find it annoying, and you explained. I haven't been doing them, and now that you mentioned that, it's probably pushing a button. It's triggering me, and so I need to push through it and do the inner voice, but I do not yet all wound up on all the other balances. And since October, and I've been doing the detox playlist based on the supplement.
Yeah, so Don, I just want to, we only have a couple more minutes, so I want to just, I don't want to cut you off, but I think, thank you. I think the main thing, the main message here with Dawn is that she doesn't get caught up in this. She just does the basics. You don't need to do anything complicated. You don't even need to understand anything. You can just do it every day. And then Heather will walk you through, or I will walk you through how to do everything else. If you don't know how to scan your supplements in, it's too complicated, we can show you how to do that. So the main thing is you just have to use it. Don't worry about how it works. It's the electricity. You can just plug it in and use it every day.
But the detox frequency are already in the device. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
if
the
anybody-
frequencies are already in the device. So
If anybody wants to contact Dawn to get into the AO scan, Dawn helps us out a lot, and she has, at first she only joined to use the AO scan, but when it started working for her, she decided to become do the business also. So if anybody wants to contact Dawn.
absolutely, Dawn, you can put your contact information in there as well. So Dawn can help you. Whoever helps you, just, you can sign up under Dawn. We don't really care.
Yeah, we just want you to get
be able
better.
get this technology in your home and start using it. And again, this is not a miracle. This is just one device of many things that are going to help you heal overall. But I was thinking, it could save potentially thousands of dollars of testing. Dr. Cowden talks about muscle testing. This is sort of another way of doing muscle testing. It's using a machine versus using muscle testing. But my guess is it's probably as accurate as muscle testing is, and maybe more accurate.
Actually,
maybe it'll be a little less accurate for the people that are super professional muscle testers. More accurate, definitely more accurate than most of us are on muscle testing.
Is Dr. Cowden on today? Do you know? Because when I scanned Dr. Cowden, he asked me to email the scans and said he was going to muscle test against it later, and he said it was remarkably accurate.
Yeah, so it's another way to do muscle testing, and at home. And this is, again, just a way to send healing frequencies. It's just, we wouldn't be doing this call today if we didn't think it had the potential of helping a lot of people with ALS from home. That's the whole purpose of us doing this. And we're going to be presenting other machines as well that we know are helpful for pals. So
Just I'm just going to try and,
so if we could just,
yeah, I'm going to try and quickly get a few done. Karen asked if you could imprint water that has been wanded. Yes, I do it all the time. Is there a device that is a step up from the AO scan? Wondering if we could make this investment now or wait for future presentations. I'll tell you what, they have training that steps up the AO scan. So there's phases 1, 2, and 3 that actually allow you to open up databases and look on a certain organ for the emotions, viruses, parasites, 18 different things that can be affecting that organ. So I would say get started with the AO scan and then go into the training if you're
I think what they were asking there, Heather, is the other frequency devices that Tish mentioned we'd have Sunday meetings on, and like the wand and everything else. If they're going to make an investment in something, this one versus something else, you know.
We don't know. I would love to compare this. I would like to compare the Pryphyterica one, which is $380 one time, and combined with the AO scan, which is $150 a month, compared to Tenant's $11,000. He has 2 machines that combined are $11,000. I would love to compare them. I don't know which one is going to turn out to be better. That's one of the reasons why we want you to, those of you who have both or using one or the other, to please put it in the ALS registry, because in a year we'll know. We will know whether Tenant's wand is better than these ones. I don't know. I know that I spoke to someone who has the Tenants and they have the Pryf, and they're saying they're feeling more of a difference on a daily basis with the Pryphyterica than they are with the Tenant wand. And that's just one single person. Maybe other people are going to find the Tenant wand to be more effective. I don't know. I really don't, but we will not know that. So there is no step up that I know of. I know that there are certain things that are really good as far as vibration and building muscle, and we're going to be talking about that as well. That's another more frequency devices, and they help build muscle. I don't believe either the Tenant wand or this one build muscle like the newbie device does, and like some of the sound frequency and other frequency devices do as far as building muscle, because building muscle is great for building muscle, which is great. It's a Band-Aid. And I'm not saying it's not a good Band-Aid, it's a great Band-Aid, but we still want to get to the cause of why those neurons, we want to heal the neurons rather than just building the muscle, because if the signal isn't sending it from your motor neurons to the muscle, we want to fix that signal versus just building the muscle. Because we had person with normal muscles using a frequency device was awesome. But the reality was it didn't heal his motor neurons, but it did build his muscles, but he still couldn't walk. So even though he had normal calf size, normal leg size, normal arm size, if you're not getting the signal from the motor neuron to the muscle, it's not going to help you heal ALS, but it is nice to have. So it's, again, we're looking at all the different things that help, and there are so many frequency devices. Kathleen, go ahead and you can go ahead and add something as well.
Thank you. We actually have a friend here in Canada who's been using the AO scan on, she's been trained, and so she's been using it on Mike and me every day. And what we're detecting in Mike in the beginning was that his liver was not producing bile. It said 1 and 1, so it was critical that his liver didn't have any bile secretion. And now that's all leveled off to 4 and 5 now. And all of his numbers are getting to be green. We also detected high levels of parasites. He had high levels, critical levels of hookworms 2 weeks ago, and he doesn't anymore. The hookworms are at 4 and 5 again, gone, but we are doing some parasite cleansing. We also detected several different viruses and bacterias like MRSA, hepatitis, and other things like that. Those are also getting much better. And we can tell that he's feeling better. I am also feeling better. But she has been in extensive training. She's said that when you do the inner voice, you're supposed to actually think about something upsetting at first. Close your eyes, think of something upsetting. And then and then close your eyes after you calm, and then think of something happy. So that will bring a different effect. So I'm just wondering about that. That's my question about that. Heather, do you know about that?
Yeah, Lauren has mentioned that's one way to do the inner voice, is to think about something happy and then think about something sad. And also that when you say your name, it's a very powerful thing. So the only thing that matters when you're doing the inner voice is to definitely say your name, and whatever else you say doesn't matter. But
Yeah, and all the training is free. The basic training is free. So just to, Heather mentioned the training, you can go online at Solux University and you get all the basic training for free. Then you can, if you've got this, you asked about next level, you can, if you pay, I think it's $200 for the next level training.
150 for phase one. I think it's 250 for phase 2, and then 495 for phase 3. And I've done all that training. There's also a day of discovery that's coming up in just a few days. They do 2 days of discovery a year. This one's virtual. That's coming up March 9th through the 16th. And then in August, Tish and I went to the live one last August in Utah.
Yeah, so
there's
a ton of training out there. Most of it is free. There is some, it's like a one-time fee, but then it opens up all the stuff. They don't want make this simple machine complicated if you guys don't know how to use it. So they teach you how to use that next level of complexity. You pay a one-time fee of either 150, 250, or whatever the next one is. And then that opens up even more. But learn the free training first. And then as you get better, you can open it up. And Heather's trained in all of them, so she can always scan the more complicated things on her device once she completes all, because she's completed all the trainings available. So
Kathleen, this is Scott here. That is critical. What you just gave us, that information wise, especially with the liver counts, is very important. What was your timeline when you first got your AO scan? And then now with the results that you're having, not, with both of you. Go ahead.
I would say, I think it's about 2 weeks. Well, first, I think Tish did a scan on us, and then a friend of mine I found out had it, and she's been doing it not every day, almost every day, I guess, maybe every 2 days. And I think that was about 2 weeks ago. I mean, I was really sick. I was in bed. I think that's about 2 weeks, Scott. I would say.
So when Tish first did her scan, it was about 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, you had those types of results?
Yes, there's like a lot of things that are resolving. And I can see it in Mike, and I can feel it. And it's even helping us. But we are also, I have to also say that we are doing a free trial, and it's from scalarlight.com. It's a 15-day, it's a scalar energy. He is working with, all you do is upload a photograph. You don't have to even put your credit card in or anything, but that's been going on for the last 3-4 days. So I cannot say absolutely 100% because we also are using the wand, of course. But his numbers on his scan, I see them, and I cannot believe it. I am just thrilled with both of our numbers, how our parasites, our viruses. I had Epstein-Barr virus in the beginning. We both had Lyme, Bartonella, Babesia, OSA, all of these things. He was critical on hookworms for the first 2-3 scans. And now his hookworms are normal. So he's actually eating more food now. He's eating better. He's able to tolerate bread, and he needs it because he's lost a lot of weight. And just eating good. Yeah, sorry, I could go on and on. I'm not going to take time.
Yeah, that's fine. And there are some really good grain-free breads and gluten-free breads out there. So just so you know that those breads exist. I agree that, you know, sometimes you just need carbs.
But
You
on
just
the
need healthy
scan, it shows that he can eat wheat. Wheat does not make him sick, and neither does gluten. So, you know, we can't say that everybody is actually, eggs are bad for him. And we were eating eggs every day, and it's showing eggs bad, you know. So it's really amazing to know this information is totally eye-opening. It's life. I believe it's life-saving. I think everybody should have an AO scan that has ALS. Everybody in the world should have an AO scan.
And again, I gave up some other supplements in order to pay the $150 a month for Scott and I. And you know, again, which is sort of a weight. And I said, you know, I think this is more important than some of the supplements I'm taking. So that's what we ended up doing. So just to like we understand that, but I think it has potential of having some really major effect on health in our family. And
Yes. And Heather, are you willing to stay in a breakout room and continue this discussion? Because how common is that in results within a couple weeks? Is that normal, or is that what have you been seeing using the AO scan?
I wanted to share what Lisa wrote. Lisa Bean's been using the scanner, and she says she uses it almost every day. She focuses on the food sensitivities and various toxins that show up in red. And she's pleased to report that her list of things that show up in red is much, much shorter than they were when she first started using the scanner 3 months ago. She also wants to say that she did use her iPhone for a month before she actually got the scanner device. And she keeps discovering more and more helpful frequencies almost every day. So that's awesome, Lisa. Thanks for sharing.
And I got the scanner device for $4.95 because I know that my Scott. Could you
Tish is on the phone all the time. She can't possibly do this on her phone.
Yeah, there's no way I could do it. But it's not just that. Is I notice when I'm on my iPhone, there's EMF. So even with my EMF shield, it's way better with it. But I always have it on speaker and I always keep it away from me. But the reality is I don't want this. I don't need extra. I'd rather have the low EMF one, and it is more accurate. So that's why, you know, I decided to get it. Okay, this is one. Plus, we can use it for the whole family. So I don't have to go give my phone to Scott or anybody else. It's there and anybody can use it. So that's kind of why I chose to get that. And you can put as many people in there as want. Like I've got like a zillion people in mine. You can delete them if you're no longer scanning someone, you can delete them. But I have somebody right now. I'm actually scanning her every single morning right now because we're looking for a trend. And eventually she'll get her own machine. But right now she's having a major health issue and she just doesn't want to deal with it. So I do a scan for her every morning. So just to let you, well, we need to do breakout rooms. So let me do that. I will organize the breakout rooms. And Scott, if you could start your goodbyes while I get the breakout rooms. And thank you, Heather, so much for coming. Thank you, Dawn McCrae, really appreciate you sharing. Kathleen, thank you for sharing. Lisa,
thank you, Lisa. Yeah.
You know, we just really appreciate everybody sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tanya shared too, but she couldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly. So just really appreciate it. Scott, you were all yours as far as the goodbyes. And Glenn, thank you for moderating. Really appreciate it.
Okay, this was an amazing session. And there are a few things that really stuck out with me on this. And because your liver is key. I mean, that is so important to have a healthy liver as you are battling. You're in a battle. Healthy liver is very important. It's one of the things that should be taken care of. And all of us should know our liver count and our liver numbers. And just the fact that the AO scan will help you monitor your liver, that's huge. So I'm going to go ahead and start my goodbyes. Thank you for helping out there, Glenn. Thank you so much with the questions also, Heather. And thank you for that wonderful presentation. There's so much to this AO scan. I mean, you can even peel it off and do another deeper layer with the AO scan. It's just amazing. But it's important that we understand the simplification of what we need to help us on our individual journey. We can always dwell deeper, but just the fact of the basics, knowing how to scan ourselves, knowing our results, and knowing to make our own adjustments with our own diets and what we're doing is very important. So bye-bye, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. Thank you, Don, for tuning in and being here so much. Thank you, Freddie, for being here also. Thank you, Karen. And Mark Spry, got the thumbs up, Mark. Yay. That's fantastic. Nice being here. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, David Grandel. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Tondalea and Jonathan. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian and Carol, Andrea. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being here. Thank you so much, Dorothea. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, the Herrera family. Eric, yes, I see you there. Fantastic. Thank you, the Bergmans. Hey, thank you for being here. So nice to see you all. We want to come by and visit everybody as much as we can. Someone gave us a notice saying that, hey, we haven't gotten out west in a while. So we did go east and we did do Ontario, Canada. So now it's time to do the British Columbia and the Western Regional United States. So bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for being here, Jose and Raj and Kara, the Long family. There's David Long and Margot and everybody. Thank you, Lisa Bean, for being here. The Lozak family. Thank you, Steve and Maria. Thank you. Thank you, Carl, for being here. Thank you for the work that you do and your whole tour that you're doing. And the whole foundation is fantastic. Thank you, Lisa and Constance, Jasmine, Olaf, Mel, Sally, Ariana, Trisha,